This is a very special episode of Halloween Hangover for a number of reasons. Most notably, the fact that it is the first episode recorded as I am hungover the day after Halloween. Secondly, because of that reason, I'm wearing a hat, which I never wear this hat because it doesn't quite fit my head right. But I love the design. I don't know if it's very visible. It's Bigfoot getting abducted by a UFO. But that hangover hair, like in the movies where it's like kind of messy but in a cool way, that's not real. That doesn't exist, at least for me. At least for me. So anyhow, more importantly and more seriously, this is the first one, to my knowledge, I think it's the first one on the Long Shot Books account. And you're wondering, why are we doing yet another series about pop culture rather than publishing books? We are publishing books. We are working daily doing this. I would be recording these videos anyways. I put it off for a long time, mostly because I felt bad not focusing more on the company and doing fun things. And it hit me that I may as well upload this to the company account so that we can bring more traffic there, and hopefully people will like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. And I'll provide a link below to Lexi Spino's book, The Electra Complex, which we published and are very, very proud of. And we love Lexi very much, and we think you should follow her. I'll provide her information, and so I'll be promoting some stuff. And before we let this begin, I would also like to begin reviewing horror novellas and short stories from indie authors on Halloween Hangover. So if you're an author of horror stuff and you send me your book, I'm sorry, I've got money for a publishing house. I don't have money to buy books all the time for it. Then I will review it on here. And I'm only going to be doing positive reviews because I want to help people. I don't want to hurt people by spreading negativity. So I'll send you my review, and if you think it's too harsh or anything, you have the option to say, nah, I'll keep it, because I want to help people's careers. And I'm not going to lie, but I'm also not going to publish things that will hurt people. So that's my plan with the series. Pretty excited about it. I've been working on this idea for a long time to bring it back because I really love Halloween Hangover and have many fond memories of it. So this episode is also special because it's the first time, to my knowledge, I'm talking about a video game. And the video game is kind of an odd one. It's weird that it exists, let alone is being reviewed by me. And it is Blair Witch for the PlayStation 4. And I love the Blair Witch Project. I think it is one of the most brilliant horror movies ever. It is one of the top 10 horror movies ever. Probably second or third scariest movie ever to me. I know it's controversial. I know it's not for everyone. That's cool. And similarly, this game is going to be just as divisive. It already was. I mean, I'm pretty late to the game on this one, but I wanted to play it through the month of October as kind of a special thing for myself, and I wanted to debut the series with this because I'm such a big fan of the series. I think the second movie is a great guilty pleasure, one of my favorites, one of my favorite 90s time capsules. I don't like the term guilty pleasure. I'm one of those nerds. It's like, I don't have guilt for the things I enjoy. But what else do you call Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows? Let's be real. The third movie, the Adam Wingard, I don't know the writer, the Dread Central writer, who wrote the film with Adam Wingard, and then or maybe it was Bloody Disgusting. It's one of those sites, and they pimped the hell out of that movie when it came out. It redefined the genre. It's amazing. It's a must-see. And they failed to disclose, at least in the marketing for the movie, maybe in the actual reviews for the movie, it did, that it was written by a staff member. Kind of an important detail. But that movie to me got everything wrong. It was the antithesis of what I want in Blair Witch. So you can say I was a little bit skeptical of this game for that reason. And it does tie in to that movie, Blair Witch. The big giant tree people things that are in that movie, that the witch may or may not be, that they've said isn't the witch, but let's be real, it was supposed to be the witch, even though they said it wasn't. They are in the game. They're the primary villains that you fight or the enemies that you do in the combat systems, which in my opinion is by far the weakest part in the game, which I'll get to soon. The basic plot is that you play as let's see, it doesn't say his name, and it really doesn't matter. Basically some alcoholic, former military, former cop, going into the woods, who has a much cooler, much nicer, very, very good boy bullet named after everyone's favorite metalcore band from high school that I, for one, definitely never listened to or enjoyed, because that would be lame. And that's the thing. You get to design the color of Bullet, his collar, and it's a nice little feature. And more importantly, it's the gameplay mechanic that really makes the game. Is that your interactions with Bullet, you can feed him, pet him. Allegedly, the way you treat him affects the ending of the game. There's 2 or 3 different endings, which I'll get to a bit later. And it's great. I mean, Bullet kind of makes the game. Bullet in the atmosphere of the woods. You're going into the woods so that you can find this child that went missing in the woods. And who gives a fuck about him? Like, the details don't really matter in that mystery. It's really just more of a MacGuffin. But you're going there to find him. And you're really told not to. You're going alone. It's getting dark, but you got your dog. And you steal a police walkie-talkie, which may or may not be a felony. And you go in. And the woods and the design of the woods, in my opinion, is incredible. I think for not being a AAA game, I think it looks great. There's points where I noticed on the PlayStation 4, I noticed the woods rendering, where they get like a little bit blurry and then more detail would come in. But as someone who grew up getting lost in the woods all the time, who grew up in kind of a country atmosphere for a lot of my childhood on a farm, it really captures that perfectly. You feel lost in the woods. It's frustrating. I hate in games. My least favorite thing in video games ever is not knowing where to go. We're just walking in circles, looking for the item you have to pick up, looking for the person you gotta talk to. That's this whole game. And it is basically a walking simulator for 90% of it. And I hate that. I've bitched about it on this channel before. But it works here because the game's built around it. And if you want a more gameplay-heavy game like the ones I typically enjoy, you may not like this. And I get that. I'm not the guy to praise games that are this way at all. But it's trying to evoke a mood and a feeling. It really is kind of a mood piece in many ways. And I think it captures that perfectly 90% of the time. Now, here's where the bad comes in. And I'm going to say quite a bit of bad, because this is a flawed game. It is not perfect by any metric. First of all, the enemies. They're the tree people, like I said. You hardly see them. The combat system is you're looking around, flashing your shining your flashlight, and bullets barking in their direction. And then it goes like, boom, and real quick you see their outline in this kind of neonish silhouette. And it's lame. And it's a cool idea and concept, because you can't have a gun just shooting witches or whatever, but I think the designs aren't scary. Every single point where there's combat, it's not randomized. It's not like Pokemon where they pop out or something exciting. It's just so shoehorned in and just so scripted. And it's frustrating because it feels like it doesn't quite work like it should. I can't comment on the glitches in this game because I got it much later than everybody else, where I believe updates have fixed all of the issues people were having, or at least most of them. So I can't account for that. They may or may not be true. I don't know. I just can't speak on it. But I can say that I think that combat system really needed some fine-tuning, and it really holds the game back, because whereas you are kind of creeped out in the woods because it has that feeling, you know nothing's going to come at you. You know there's not going to be any scares or anything for most of the game. There are jump scares. There are some good ones. There's some pretty evocative, creepy moments, but for the most of the game, when you're walking around, you know it's just going to be you walking around, which is atmospheric, but it's not necessarily dreadful or scary most of the time, because the combat and the scares are so scripted. And that's really, really unfortunate, because I think that holds the game back more than anything. Another negative is that there's points in the game where you are going on like trolleys or whatever, and the wind is like knocking leaves, and it's supposed to be scary, but it looks like a funnel, like woo, 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 like it's like getting pushed by a snowplow or something, and the graphics look bad. It's lame. There's a point where you're in the mist and you have to find your way and navigate and avoid the tree people, and you can't have combat with them at all because it's so misty, the flashlight doesn't work. That's a cool set piece. I like that, and it was kind of nerve-wracking. It was frustrating because I think the design of the pathway could have been a little better for you. But, I don't know. The main antagonist, though, is not the witch, but it's a child murderer in the woods who harasses you over the walkie-talkie and assaults you at points. And he basically looks like Rob Zombie, and his dialogue is all like pretentious, bad Marilyn Manson lyrics, where it's like, pain is a light, and you live in the comfort of darkness, or some shit like that, you know, like ridiculous stuff. But I don't mind that at all. It's charming in its own corny way, for me at least. It goes back into that kind of 90s nostalgia, especially because this game does take place in the 90s. and the storytelling feels very comic book-like to me. A lot of people don't like it. They don't like that it's about PTSD and regret and this character that a lot of people don't care for, that he's an unlikable protagonist. He's very flawed. He doesn't have many redeeming qualities really at all, except for the fact that he wants to make things right in his own way, which is a mistake in and of itself because it's a misguided attempt in many ways, and really a selfish endeavor. But I liked that. I liked this story. It reminded me very much of comic books, like I said. It's not perfect. It's not 10 out of 10 story, but it was enough to get me through the game. And I think the final third of the game, when you're in the house, it really picks up. It gets very fun. It's basically a haunted house where you walk into a room, all of a sudden it's very modern, and then all the wallpaper gets stripped away, and then all of a sudden you're in this, rundown shack like the end of the film. And it was so creepy and fun to be able to walk through the house myself in a video game. I really appreciated that. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm running out of time on my camera because it always lets me know when I've gone on too long by shutting me off. So what I'm going to say with this game is it's not perfect. It's not for everyone. But if you're a big die-hard Blair Witch Project fan like I am, if you are a horror game fan, I would strongly recommend it. At least giving it a chance. I'd rent it. I would maybe get it on sale. Is it worth I think $40 or whatever I paid for it full price? For most people, no. I don't regret it. I'm pretty bad at games, so I spent a lot of time with it, so I got my money's worth in terms of hours of gameplay. But I give it about a 7.5, and that's it, because I'm out of time.